All right. Wait for some people to drop in this joint. See what's up. See how things are going. Y'all know I gotta pop in here on the first day, to talk to y'all, see how y'all doing and all that. Uh Warsheep podcast is currently gonna be under construction. We're gonna try to upgrade some of the equipment because a lot of the 4K and files are really large. So I think it's really slowing down and bogging down my capacity, my storage, you know. So it's hard for me to get a lot of the graphics and things that I love to do to play fluently during the show, right? So it's difficult for me to get the graphics and things that I love to play fluently during the show. So I'm gonna figure out a good way to transition. I think I might switch over to more of the Mac platform. Right now, I'm running everything off of the Lenovo, off Lenovo. Welcome in, welcome in. All right. Well, so I'm running everything off the Lenovo right now, which is just a laptop. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick up the system and get the system in a spot where it is, because all of the files that I got 4K files, man. They're larger files and different graphics and designs that need a larger capacity. So I'm gonna have to reach out to my brother Boston. He does a lot of work with the what do they call them? Man, with the system. He does a lot of work with like gaming systems and stuff like that. So I gotta upgrade the system a little bit so that way when I play my intro, when I play different things like the videos and stuff that I got, that it's not going to continue to bog it down, make it skip. This weather is something else. Yeah. Especially here in Houston too. We've been having a lot of rain. It's been getting a little chilly out as well. So, but either way, so we're gonna be doing construction. Let me get rid of this glare, y'all. Let me get rid of this glare. So while we're doing this construction real quick, I just thought I'd come on here and just pop on here real quick because I know today is time for a show. But today we're not going to do a full-blown show. We can definitely just have a conversation. But I do have a few things to share with y'all. It ain't just that we're under construction. I got a few things to share with you guys as well. If you keep it 2K, that works too. 2K, yeah, everything is in 4K. So 2K, I'd have to try that out to see what the picture quality is going to look like in 2K. But everything's in 4K, and that's how I rendered everything. Man, I'm saying it's a lot of production that goes into what I'm doing here, but I also need the proper equipment, the proper hard drive, stuff like that, to be able to be sure that I'm running everything smoothly. Things like that, the proper bandwidth. I believe the bandwidth is fine though. One thing that I am going to share though is this, y'all, is that, while we're doing what we're doing here at the Warsheep podcast, exposing truth and talking about a lot of things, shedding light on things, but also just bringing candid conversations, just things that are interesting also to the platform. Obviously, there's certain individuals out there who have a particular problem or issue. But, I recently received correspondence from YouTube that, I got a copyright strike on my channel. I'm not too much tripping about the strike because it's not a problem. But, I need to understand why YouTube or Google or whoever runs YouTube is still allowing these individuals to submit copyright strike forms or whatever it may be. I know that the legal ramifications of harassment is definitely something that I can pursue, right? I know I can pursue that because this particular individual, Mike, he continues to try his best. If I read you this email right now. And trust me, I haven't really been giving him any energy. In fact, I've been taking a bit of a welcome in. Hello, welcome in. Welcome to the Warsheep podcast. So yeah, I've been taking a bit of a break. I've been taking a bit of a break from content, making content and things like that, because I want to be sure that I'm taking the channel in the right direction. And now I've been reset. I reset a little bit to say, okay, edification. You know, how many videos am I doing that brings edification, right? That brings insight to make you want to think, right? To make you want to go do some studying and research in the scripture or historical facts, historical evidence. There's been other things going on in the world as well. Like, of course, I've been thinking about covering the Candace Owens situation as to where now she's receiving death threats and stuff like that from France. And I think that that's really important to talk about because the powers that be, the ones who are in higher positions, they literally will take these positions. We've seen it time after time in our communities when people are really vocal, right, y'all? When they're vocal, when they have a voice, when people listen to them, when they have a large platform, when they're making noise and making waves in this particular country, in the world, period, and it does not align with the narrative or the status quo of those powers, the people who are in power, the people who are making decisions of whether you live or die or whatever it may be, right? Are trying to systematically remove you from this earth, these individuals will literally take any opportunity to assassinate you, right? Or to delete you, right? And so we've seen it happen with Huey P. Newton. We've seen it happen with Malcolm X. We've seen it happen with Martin Luther King. We've seen it happen with many religion, with many cultural leaders, right? Who had major influence, major influence. And when they don't like what you're saying, they find ways to try to get rid of you. From what I'm understanding with this Candace Owens situation, Charlie Kirk and his deletion or his assassination was something that was staged, right? Something that was staged for the simple fact that they wanted to send a message to not only carry Candace Owens, but also Charlie Kirk, and that they would be able to send this message and say, if you guys don't stop talking, then this will happen to you publicly. Now, Candace Owens has reason to believe that that's what's going on currently with her, and I also have reasons to believe that she has valid and credible sources that are saying the same thing. But this is exactly what we speak against. We speak against a lot of these people who are tyrannical, who want to destroy the people from actually having a voice of advocacy, you know, who want to silence the people from being able to stand up for one another, to be able to shed light on darkness, to be able to, you know, be able to stand in the gap for one another. And we know for sure that demonic forces, devils, they hate the light. They literally hate the light. They hate the light. You know what I mean? People who are dwelling in darkness, they hate light. They hate to be in the light. They hate to be corrected. They hate to be chastised. They hate for people to be aware of their devices. And you know, that's some of the things that we advocately stand against. We want the truth to come out. You know what I'm saying? You feel like you got truth, man, bring it out. And if somebody is guilty of that truth, they should be willing to accept it and say, you know what, let me do better. And that's just kind of what it is. But you know, when we're dealing with these individuals, you got people who literally, is that a shirt from the Department of Great? No, nah, man. It's just a regular shirt, brother. It's just a regular shirt. Nah. Anyways, interesting question though. Either way, they use their minions to try to distract those who are exposing their works of darkness. That's right, bro Vic. That's right. Shalom, Sister Rose. Welcome in. Ducking 3 is the Earth flat. That's not all I'm talking about here today, my brother. That's not what I'm talking about here today. Let me see. Is that a yeah, yeah? Because that definitely that comment was interesting. Um, Q&A sticker. Oh, they got Q&A stickers on here now. But either way, no, we don't need to do question and answer right now. We'll do it later. But either way, I got individuals like, I guess this guy Mike. One of the claims that the guy made, okay, one of these people who are trying to stop truth from coming out, and honestly, who's trying to shut down people for standing on righteousness, standing on truth, standing on business, whatever it may be. However you may perceive it. You might feel like that I'm not. You might feel like that, what I do brings about strife or division, whatever you might feel. I can't stop you from feeling it. And honestly, listen, you're entitled to your opinion. So I'll never tell you to stop thinking what you're thinking, but I will tell you, please don't come out here and lie about things. Don't come out here and lie about stuff. Don't come out here and try to make it seem like something it's not. Don't come out here and say and pretend like you know who I am or you know what I'm about, but you really don't know me at all. You know what I'm saying? This individual, Mike, he has done exactly that, speaking on private matters and private situations that entirely goes entirely too personal, but he actually doesn't know anything about it, doesn't even have my name correct, but he feels like he knows everything about me and whatever it may be, which is totally incorrect, right? And which can be proven in court. My thing is that he has not shown any proof. And it was a very interesting post that I saw today, and which this woman said, she said, it takes people nothing, right? People require no evidence in order for, when people tell a lie about someone, they require no evidence. But when they start speaking truth, you got to provide all the evidence in the world in order for you for it to be actually accurate and true. And I'm like, wow, that's so. People are so willing to receive a lie before they're willing to receive the truth. So, a lot of times you got to prove it. You got to prove it in court. And that'll be the best thing to do, is to prove what your claims are in court, to provide actual tangible proof and evidence. But this particular individual, he claimed that he did not want a copyright strike on my channel or something like that, but that he just submitted it over to YouTube, and YouTube had to make the decision whether or not the copyright strike will be on my channel. And that was an absolute lie. He made it seem like that he was not trying to do his best to do whatever he could to try to shut down the Warsheep podcast, shut down my channel, and effectively he's harassing and abusing myself and of course the brand, whatever it may be. He's harassing and abusing. This is harassment and abusive, right? But this last copyright strike that I received, y'all, I didn't get any information as to why they gave me a strike on my channel. But once I took a look into it and I asked YouTube about the copyright strike and what is the reason why, when they sent me back the correspondence and told me what was going on, I got to read what Mike actually said, and it was very interesting, to say the least. Okay, let me take a look. I'm gonna see if I can be able to get it to you. Let me read it for you guys. It was very interesting, right? Here's how your channel did last month. Now, we just recently hit over 650,000 views on YouTube, approaching 1 million views, which is awesome, and we're doing a great job and we're crushing it. I really appreciate you guys' love and support. And YouTube is sending me correspondence, and they're saying, here's how your channel did last month. One of my shorts did great and was crushing it, right? 63 new uploads, 1,207 new subscribers, total views 42.6K, minutes watched 400.7K. Means like we got people who are actually watching the content, who are actually enjoying the content, which I really appreciate that. Because honestly, I'm not doing it for nothing. I'm doing it to be able to help other people and being able to express themselves, as well as to get out their levels of truth. I'm doing it so people can be aware of certain situations. I'm doing it so people can have personal growth and things like that. I'm doing it because me myself, I want to experience personal growth. I want to be able to experience the fruits of the labor, right? Because the labor that is put in to the production, to everything, the Most High said that you would what you reap that you would be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor. And it's not about anything else other than that as well. So people who support the channel, support that enjoying the fruits. No, not your labor. I'm not enjoying the fruits of my brothers and my sisters who support the Warsheep podcast. I'm not enjoying the fruits of y'all labor. I'm putting in the work. I'm doing what I can, and I want these companies and corporations to be the ones to provide the fruit. You get what I'm saying? I want them to pay me. I don't want my brother and my sister to have to come out of pocket, or I'm relying on you, or I gotta pressure you to donate to Cash App or donate to PayPal. I don't even run the Cash App and PayPal on my channel. Out of the kindness of your heart, if you wish to purchase a t-shirt, a sweater, or if you wish to donate or sign up for a membership, it's totally up to you. If you see the value in what I'm doing, you see the value in it, then I'll leave it totally to you. If you want to donate a super chat, you can do so. Totally on you. I'm not going to sit here and be pressuring you. I might run ads here and there just to remind you that it's another way to support me, support the channel, support the Warsheep podcast and what we like to do here with getting out truth. And that's what it is. But, YouTube has definitely been recognizing that, recognizing the growth, recognizing in correspondence. And then also, of course, we got individuals like Mike, who also is doing the best he can to do copyright strikes. So I'm going to get back on that. Now, I did reach back out to YouTube. They sent me a full dissertation on it. Okay. All right. Counter notification in accordance to the Copyright Act. We've completed process. Your counter notification. The following videos have been restored. So now the first one, okay, the following videos have been restored. So the first one fell through. So he tried to do the copyright strike on the very first video, and that was the song. And it completely failed, completely fell through. After 10 days, they had to put it back up based on his fraudulent claim of copyright. Okay. It was frivolous, and it was nothing that he should have done in the first place. But, then he backdoors, and they were very slow about what he did this time. Okay, y'all. They were very slow about it this time, and he got pretty damn upset. But I want to just read it to you. Hold on a sec. I want to read it to you guys, because this is what you call an obsession. This is what you call individuals who are upset and have an obsession with someone else. Okay. Now, okay, so this is what the court. I reached out to YouTube and I said, thank you for your response. However, there were no timestamps and content references mentioned in the copyright notice. This is information missing from the claim. And so they replied and said, hello, thank you for your message. Below is a copy of the notice of notification in question. Please note the physical address and phone number have been redacted. So they redacted the phone number and the address. Okay, which I got both, so it don't really matter. I need help. This is the third time. Now, this is Mike speaking, y'all. Okay. Like I said, I got his address and I got his phone number, so I can send him legal correspondence, and I will be doing that this week, y'all. I'll be sending out correspondence not only to him through email, but through mail, certified mail, things like that. And yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to watch this, so he's going to know that he's going to receive this. But obviously, he thinks I'm bluffing. He thinks that I'm joking with him. But this is him talking, y'all. Begin copyright notice. This is the beginning of copyright notice. I need help. This is the third time I have requested this removal. There is a video that has used my videos inside of their video content without my permission, which was an absolute lie. I had his full permission and cooperation. I wanted to do a copyright strike. He requested to do a copyright strike. So the whole notion of him saying like, hey, they decide whether they give you a channel a strike or not. How it works with YouTube, y'all, is if you're using copyrighted material, they'll notify you of the material being copywritten, and then you would have to provide a reason why. But it's never a strike on your channel if the content creator just gave you a notice of removal. If the content creator went the extra mile to be able to get a strike on your channel, they're doing what Mike is doing right now. I wanted to do a copyright strike against them. He said that YouTube decides. No, he wanted to decide to do a copyright strike. He's the one who's pursuing a copyright strike. He wants to strike on the channel because he's pursuing it to be shut down, not for any other reason. Now, how wicked is that? That's the question. How wicked is that? For you to be so vengeful, right? For you to be taking vengeance in your own hands, right? To where you're going through all these great lengths to try to shut down something that has brought so much good to other people, to relieve their stress, to be able to get their testimony off their chest. Have so many different people who come back to the Father and come back to studying the Bible, to praying again, things like that, because they had somebody advocating for them against a particular ministry that misused and abused them, right? And treated them like rags and like a doormat. And you yourself have come on and told your testimony. And now you have now admitted, Mike, that you've tried to speak on this 3 times and removing this particular video and then giving me a strike, which goes towards taking down our removal, our demonetization, whatever it may be, for the Warsheep podcast. That's what you're pursuing. What you're pursuing is evil. What you're doing and pursuing is wicked. There's nothing righteous about this, right? And you think that, I don't know if you felt like you wanted to keep it confidential between you and YouTube, because the first correspondence that I got from YouTube, it didn't give me any timestamps. It didn't give me any video references as to what was going on like they did the very first time he tried this mess. They just went straight into removal, and they went straight into saying that he requested the removal, right? He made the copyright notice. And that's all they did, which put a strike on the channel, okay? Now, of course, you got to go the extra mile in order to give someone else a copyright strike. Not only that, after you do what you're doing, now this puts a little bit extra work on my plate, okay, y'all? All the things that I do, okay, I'm running not only the Warsheep podcast, running that. I got a construction company, a contracting business that I run as well. And also we're gearing up for tax season. So y'all get ready, you know what I'm saying? If y'all need y'all taxes done, your boy can help you out with that. I can get you in the right, point you in the right direction, and we can maximize your return, okay? Maximize you, get everything, every dime that Uncle Sam owe you, we gonna get that back. This year we coming back for it. So just connect with me on that. If you're looking to get your taxes filed and done, let me know. Let me know what's up. But back to this, right? I got a lot of stuff I need to do. This just adds even more on my plate because I got to stop. I got to type up a affidavit. I got to send the affidavit in, the correspondence for the affidavit in, and do a counterclaim, a counter notification, letting them know that I was given full permission and everything for use, that he was fully aware of it. He's claiming that he did not give me any permission to do it, which he absolutely did. And once again, you got lies, a bunch of lies in order to get a particular goal met. Now, his name is all over the email, Michael, and I'm not going to say his last name because they're going to go the extra mile to be sure that something takes place. Same thing with Victoria. When I said her whole name was on her YouTube channel. And that's the reason why I said her whole name. But then she changed her name to something different and then went back and refiled for the video to be taken down after she changed her name, because her name was on her YouTube channel. So of course I'm saying the full name because that's what she had as her on her YouTube channel. So once she changed her name on her YouTube channel, then they granted her a takedown request, right? Because I did say her full name. in which I can easily combat that. I haven't done it yet, but they're creating more work, right? Yeah, heathen. Victoria the heathen. Yeah, they create more work. They're just creating more work for me. Like I said, it's more of a headache. You understand what I'm saying? All right. The copyright material that was used was videos that I created and posted to my channel. Below are my copyrighted material. And he gave a list of different things, and also, boom. So he went the extra mile, right? The infringement videos are from my personal YouTube channel. Okay. I, Michael, agree to the following statements. I have a good faith belief that the use of the material in the manner complained of complained of is not authorized by the copyright owner, its agent, or the law, which we had correspondence and communications that he in fact did authorize and did consent to use of that particular content. In fact, he's the one who orchestrated it all. He's the one that said he was going to make these videos for me to do promo with. And so that's the reason why I said that hey, what he did was dope, because I haven't did any promos before the show. And before the Warsheep podcast, before it came on, I've never done promos. But he suggested I do promos. And so I did. And so, I gave him credit where credit is due. I'm like, man, yeah, you did a great job for the way that he executed what he wanted to execute. But, that was him giving me full permission to use it all, right? I understand that abuse of this tool, such as submitting removal requests for content I do not own, may result in termination of my YouTube account. Signed. And so maybe that is the next. And he gave the few videos that he listed up. Maybe that's the next step. It's just to shut down that channel and that account completely and totally. I'm going to be reaching out to the YouTube team. That's going to be a part of what I need to do this week. I've been pretty busy for the past week, but I'm going to reach out to the YouTube team, and we're going to get legal correspondence out. And we're also going to touch bases with YouTube and getting them to understand the level of harassment and abuse that has been taking place. Now he's put the Warsheep, the one he already lost the debate against. He's already lost copyright against this particular video, but he added that and included that anyway. So he's been doing a lot. He's been still talking, still running his mouth. He's still doing this and that. So yeah, it's time to move forward. What needs to be done. It's time to do what's necessary. And so since he understands a removal of his channel, a termination of his channel is in order, I'm glad you have that level of understanding. So let's go ahead and get your channel terminated. Let's go ahead and get it terminated. Because, my thing is that you're not going to continue to do this harassment. You're not going to continue to do this abuse. I've not reached out to you via email. So a video that was sent to me where you're saying a correspondence, Mike was talking about correspondence of me reaching out to him or harassing him via email. I haven't emailed Mike in so long. I haven't directed anything directly to Mike in weeks. You get what I'm saying? And he comes out and says that I'm sitting here still talking to him through email. I'm not saying anything to you, brother. And I don't know what medication you need to be on, but obviously I'm not talking to you or referring to you or even acknowledging you half the time. But when I got to deal with mess like this for no reason, right? I'm gonna address it, right? I'm gonna address it and put it out there for people so they can know. They just need to go back where they came from, or go back and get their brownie bums from Brother C, who they idolize. Yeah, they do idolize that man. I'm not gonna lie to you. They put him on a pedestal. Wow, that kind of conversation we having today's. Yeah. Hold on, let me see. They just need to plus his first threat of deletion video was taken down, but the other is up. Yeah, absolutely. Not to mention the whole video that this dude made, that was just a circus show. It was a clown show, man. It was like, yo, what the hell is wrong with this dude? When he was just shouting through the camera, McCain, McCain, stay in the house, McCain, McCain. I'm like, yo, what is wrong with this dude? Like, he got some screws loose or something. Something's wrong with this guy. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? These idle threats. You know what I mean? You can't do that online. That's why he had to delete the video, because he knows that those threats, you can't threaten people like that. Like, you can't do that. And that was it. It's the boogeyman. And that was it. I'm just like, yo, where in the hell are we going with this? Like, what's happening? That's when I knew it was a bunch of BS, right? And then also the other threats that was being communicated, right? Yeah, complaining, laugh my ass off. Yeah, all the other threats. I'm like, yo, what is going on with this dude? Like, this dude's got to be off his meds. There's no other way. And, you know, what is this about? And it's like all this drama, you kicking up all this fuss, and people are like, man, what is going on? Looking at you crazy. People stop, you know, like your credibility is shot. So people don't want to hear what the hell you got to say, because you're not credible. You're not a credible person. Not a stitch of evidence have you been able to present. And the evidence that you believe that you have, which is nothing, you don't even got the name on it correct. You don't even know the name properly in order to find the right information if you feel like you have it. So that's when I'm just like, you know, people will believe a lie before they're willing to accept the truth. And, you know, that's just kind of how it goes, right? But, you know, nevertheless, I'm still joyfully encouraged and happy about the level of progression in doing what needs to be done. You know what I mean? And I'm happy about a lot of the people who just rock with it, you know, and just honestly, we're on the same wavelength, same goal, same mission, and that is to reveal truth and also to shed light on things that are thought provoking. Man, if you love that type of stuff, you love that type of content, then you need to subscribe to the Warsheep podcast. And I really appreciate the supporters of the podcast. Anyway, as we begin, listen, I'm a relaunch, and I'm a redo, and I'm excited because honestly, I'm gonna take a little bit of a like this little bit of a break, right? Because then, you know, following week we're gonna be back on schedule, and we'll be back to doing a show first day as usual. And I'm looking for a more fluent show, right? I'm looking for it, of course, to not have too many issues or problems, right? But to be more fluent. So I'm going to upgrade a few things, make sure that we got it where it needs to be. And I'm going to be just hitting it hard because I believe that this is what we need to do, honestly. We got a lot of ground to make up, and we got a lot of things to cover, honestly, to bring out. So yeah, is there any topics that the Warsheep podcast should hit on? Y'all let me know. Is there any topics we should really be honing in on, that we should be doing more research on, that we should bring out? Y'all let me know. And I know I got an interview. I got an interview or a live stream to do with Digging in the Word, and sister from the what's her channel name? Oh man. So Digging in the Word, they talk a lot about polygyny and things like that. She's very knowledgeable in the area on that topic and conversation. I would recommend her channel to everybody. So Digging in the Word, he's very knowledgeable about it as well. So if y'all look him up on YouTube, you guys will come across his channel. He's very knowledgeable in what he's doing. Digging in the Word, and also the sister, man. Where's her channel at? Man, that's crazy. I forget. I don't see how I forgot her channel's name. Call for Wisdom. I appreciate it. Thank you, bro Vic. Yeah, so digging in the word and call for wisdom. The sister over there, she's very knowledgeable in what she does. And she gears it toward talking to the sisters, right? But of course, us fellas, we like to hear and listen in on what, sisters' perspectives and points of views are. But she morally gears her content to the sisters, and for sisters to gain more of a knowledge and understanding, not only on polygyny, but she got other topics too that might be relationship based topics. Got to catch up with them. We're going to be doing some things together. We're going to definitely be doing a live stream together, and I'm very excited about it. I'm going to reach out to him via text. I think he's got a live stream that's coming up very soon on December 1st that I probably would really love to jump in on that and share it up, because I think it's is it simp or whatever. And it's like a great conversation though that I would love to have. I would love to have that conversation with them. So there's others out there too. Okay. Dropped a serious video on reading that book. No, not too long. Not too long ago. Okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that, brother. Let me see. I gotta, boom. I'm gonna look him up right now, actually. Okay, I see him. I see him. I see him. He's doing pretty good. 166K subscribers. Definitely doing his thing. I'm gonna have to check him out. I'm gonna have to check him out. I don't know if this is him. It might not be him. It's a picture of a jaguar in an Indian style attire. It might not be him. It might be him. The tag shared. Okay. Okay. Cool. Okay, that's him. Okay. Cool. Cool. That's cool. I like the graphics. That's nice. All right. All right. I'm gonna have to check him out. I'm gonna have to check him out. See what he's talking about. You got the Matrix there on the banner, which is cool. I want to cover more topics that's like this too, because he's talking about, I believe, black Moors. Was Hitler a black man? Okay, now that right there is an interesting question. Was Hitler a black man? That's very interesting, and that's what he's asking, right? In one of these videos, is he proving a point of Hitler being black? That's interesting. That's interesting. I would say no. I would say no, Hitler's not a black man. But if he's got some valid points, then why not? Not all black folk are Israelite. Yeah, yeah, I can agree with that. I can definitely agree with that, because you do have Hamites. You got, of course, Shemitic people. Not all of them are white. You know what I mean? Not all of them are white or Asian. But you got some Shemitic people who are a darker tone, Or not Shemitic, but Hamite, Japheth people. Not all of them are white or Asian, but you have some of them who may be darker toned as well. Let's see. Some of the Moors are known as black Moabites. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, appreciate that. Thanks for removing that. Either way, some of the Moors are known as black Moabites. Yeah, yeah, I've heard about that. Of course, the Moors, I've definitely studied up on the Moorish community and how they shaped the reality as we know it. You understand what I'm saying? Moors helped shape reality as we know it. One of the first civilizations. A lot of people don't know about the Moors. A lot of people just don't know nothing about the Moors. They still stuck on Christopher Columbus. And Columbus didn't even step foot in the Americas. He was stuck over there in Cuba or some crap. You know what I mean? But two Moorish brothers is who helped him sail the seas. It was two melanated Moorish individuals who helped Christopher Columbus sail. And a lot of people don't know nothing about that. A lot of people don't know the history of the Moors. And it needs to be educated more. But they're not going to educate you on that type of stuff in the public food system, because it's not something that promotes them. It's not something that promotes who they are and what they believe in. So they're not going to do it. But I wanted to come on here real quick and share that with you guys, man. I really appreciate you guys joining me here tonight. I just wanted to be a quick one, real quick, letting you guys know it's under construction and we're upgrading some equipment for it to be more efficient. When I get some of the upgrades, I'm going to probably do a video on it, because some of my now popular videos of doing reviews of some of the equipment that I purchased off of TikTok has gotten me through. Like, this TikTok equipment was really nice, right? And it's not a super expensive, but it's affordable and it's reliable. And that's one of the biggest things. I'm going to probably, like I said, I'm probably going to switch over from PC to a more of a Mac platform, and kind of build it out like that. I think that'll help me out with performance. You know what I'm saying? I saw 2 videos of how people got rid of their bills. Maybe you can show us how it is done right then. What is presented? Okay, done right. Yeah, I can definitely show you how to properly do it. But I'm gonna tell you this much: they don't really like when you're up on this type of stuff. So you gotta keep it, honestly, real hush hush. That's why I do a lot of it behind a paywall. I do a lot of it on for members only behind a paywall, for the simple fact that it's more of a private way of executing. And they don't like you making it public. So they give you a really hard time if you're like somebody who makes it public or tries to, you know what I'm saying? So you want to keep it as private as possible, but people still got to get the knowledge out, right? And then telling you guys the effective ways it needs to be done, giving you a play-by-play as to how I was able to accomplish it, and offsetting a liability of over $90,000 and things like that. Definitely able to accomplish it. But there's pros and then there's cons. Definitely something you want to be in a position to actually execute. And then don't just listen to anybody out here. Don't listen to anybody out here who's just saying whatever, right? You know, listen to the people who actually are giving you sound advice that makes a lot of sense, not only for you, but also for the people who have to process this for you. Don't just listen to anybody, because some people will come out here and tell you all you got to do is file a schedule, a 1099-C. They like, man, all you got to do is file a 1099-A and a 1099-C, and you're done. No, don't listen to those people who tell you that all you got to do is file this and this. Don't listen to them, because if you do it for your vehicle, trying to offset the liability of something, and then they come and they repossess your vehicle, then you only got you to blame because you listened to that fool. You understand what I'm saying? You only got you to blame, because that's not how it works. You got to definitely give the proper correspondence to the right people. And it's not, listen, it's not that difficult. It's really not that hard. Once it's broken down to you, I can definitely break it down to you to where you thoroughly understand it. It's not hard. It's not difficult. It is literally filing paperwork. It's literally doing paperwork. That's all it is. It's tax forms. It's all of that, right? Documentation. You can order them directly from the IRS. Shalom, Mama Clay. Welcome in. How do I give good correspondence? Said I. Bless you. Welcome in. Good to see you. Yeah, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Subscribe. Click the notification bell. You can be able to email me, right? If you're trying to reach out. Like I said, we're definitely running into the tax year. So tax forms, tax documents. And a lot of times when you're offsetting the liability of debt and are discharging it, you need to do it through trust. You don't need to do it as yourself, because when you go to offset the liability of debt or discharge debt, guess what? If you're doing it as you and you're using your social security number and you're saying you are who you are, they're going to look at you like you're a slave, like you're a part of our inventory. How are you trying to offset the liability of this debt? But when you approach them inside of a trust, meaning you're using your trust to execute this, then they see it as you've reached the age of maturity and you're understanding your obligations, that you can be able to handle your affairs. Yeah. Oh, I found Black Jesus. Well, let's hope that Black Jesus found you. You pray for Black Jesus to find you. You get what I'm saying? It's okay to find black Jesus, but man, let black Jesus find you, right? Because in the scripture it tells us what? He said that why are you calling me master, but do not what I say do. But he also says that in those times, in those days, that many will come to me and say, haven't I performed mighty works in your name? And he say, get away from me, right? For I've never known you. So you want black Jesus to find you. You get what I'm saying? Are you talking about me? I'm not Jesus, bro. No, no, sir, no, sir. That's no, you. No, sir, no, sir. Those shoes I cannot bear. No, sir. I didn't realize that he was talking about me, y'all. I'm like, oh, you found black Jesus? Well, make sure he found you. You know what I'm saying? I'm not even computing that. That's not even computing. Well, don't compare me to Jesus, yo. Don't compare me to Yeshua. Don't compare me to Yeshua. Don't compare me to Jesus, man. Listen, I'm just a brother with a podcast. Okay, I'm just a brother with a podcast, right? That Samuel person was a troll. I bet he was a troll. Get him on up out of here. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate you handling business on that, bro, Vic. Because, man, I don't be thinking, my first mind, y'all, I don't think that somebody's trying to be malicious. You know what I mean? Like, my mind don't go straight to malicious. You know what I mean? Like, oh, they trying to be a little malicious. You know what I'm saying? My mind just goes to, like, other places. And that'll be the last spot that I'll stop at. But people are funny out here, man. I'm my own master. I am divine and whole. Respectfully, Christianity is only a system of control. I mean, I don't disagree with the Christianity comment. Hopefully, you don't assume that I'm a Christian. But if you are your own divine and whole, then hopefully you can be able to rely on you. Just some guy, 1988. Hopefully you can be able to rely on you to get you through all of your turmoil, your troubles, everything. Hopefully you can really rely on yourself and not go into a deep depression or, lash out or want to self-delete. A lot of times, I'm going to tell you this right now, the Most High, when you believe in a higher power, that higher power can pull you through so much that your own flesh and your earthly flesh, your mental capacity, you can't get through it on your own. But when you read that book, when you read the word and you pray to a higher power, it sends you to a higher self, right? And you can get through just about anything. You can run through a brick wall when you believe in a higher power, when you believe in the Most High. But when you only have you to believe in, good luck, because there's going to be a lot of attacks to your flesh, a lot of attacks to your mental capacity, a lot of attacks to everything, and you got to just be able to weather and withstand the storm alone. You understand what I'm saying? I prefer to believe in a higher power because that higher power has not only strengthened me, right, in trying times, but it's given me strength, and it has had me be a mirror of strength. So when individuals see me, they see the Most High, and it's very difficult for them to choose to harm me based on the strength of of that higher power, right? And I know that to be true and 100% fact because I give him all glory and honor and esteem. And although in all my imperfections, I'm still striving to be perfect, right? I pray to my guardian spirits. Yeah, I'm not too sure how that works. But I know that I do have the Most High, and I do have Yeshua, Jesus the Messiah, and I pray to the Most High Yahweh through Yeshua, and then or Jesus, and that's what strengthens me. You understand what I'm saying? So, as you know, I don't know how that works for you, but and I'm not saying that you're lost, or I'm not putting you down or anything, but I'm just telling you that I agree with the Christian comment. I agree with the Christianity thing because I think Christianity has done a lot to destroy and harm a lot of people's faith, and they've turned away from the Most High Yahweh. And they turned away because they thought the people were Christian people. Those people turned out to be ministers of Satan. They turned out to be gossipers, right? Slanderers, backbiters. They turned out to be all these different things. And not only that, they keep the wrong days, right? They don't honor the Most High. They don't honor Yeshua or Jesus. And so that has put a real stain on the reputation. They've bent the knee to the world, the worldly system and society. They've allowed certain things that they should have never allowed into churches. They've allowed that in. And so I think that has now turned into a whole different situation now. It has built up in such a thing that where now there's no levels of control. There's no levels of honor or of respect going for the Christian community themselves, where people are now trying to jump ship, but they're going into being Muslims, right? They're leaving the Christian faith, and they're leaving the Holy Bible, and they're picking up Quran. And the Quran is what redirects you to Hebrew, our Israelite culture. It redirects you there. In the Quran, it tells you to serve and to follow the Messiah that the Hebrews keep and serve and follow. But at the same time, you have individuals who are now raising even more of a fuss in Sharia law, and they are Muslim individuals, right? But they are more of a radical Muslim individual. They're starting to take over a lot of different areas here in the U.S., and they have all but completely taken over the U.K. Okay, and in the Sharia law, beheadings, death for sin, all these different things, the Old Testament consequences for sin are reestablished with Sharia law. So if you believe in Yeshua or Jesus, you can be executed for that. And we know in Revelations, it talks about a time where that is going to be the issue. The issue is that they're going to be waged on the saints, and that you would be publicly executed for your belief, right? You would be that's what you have to choose. You would have to choose to stand with Yahweh or with Yeshua, or you would have to choose to fall, right? One or the other, or conform to what the world has adapted to. And so since we see Sharia law and things like that developing and growing, it's only because the Christian community doesn't know how to stand up for their core beliefs, which is the Bible. Since they don't know how to stand up for their core beliefs, it turns a lot of individuals who are strong in their faith and willing to die for their faith. It makes them turn away from it because they see the level of not only wickedness, but weakness in Christianity. You understand what I'm saying? People who want to be honorable, people who want to serve in an appropriate manner, who want to keep and do what the Most High says to do, those individuals don't see Christianity as the way or the answer, right? Because they bend the knee and conform themselves to the world too often, and they leave others to question their faith. It's just a really toxic mindset, belief. It's I'm not worthy is a very toxic mindset. That's one of many reasons why I left. And honestly, not being worthy, and you're raising some really great points, and I want to tell you that and commend you for speaking out on that, because I don't disagree with you. You understand what I'm saying? Just some guy in 1988. I don't disagree with you in this, because honestly, it is a toxic mindset. Not being worthy, things like that. My thing is this, right? Is that Yeshua or Jesus never taught you to believe or to think and hold on to those beliefs and hold on to that. Now, when you're in a state to where you're not in the right position in life, to be honest with yourself and say, man, I'm not worthy to bear this or that. But you can strive to become worthy, right? You can strive to become perfect, things like that. You have to make a decision, right? What decision do you need to make to grow, to prosper, right? And Yeshua is never going to teach you to bog yourself down or beat down on yourself, or Jesus is not going to teach you to do that. Jesus is going to teach you to walk with what? With power. He's going to teach you to walk with a sound mind, with peace and with love and with integrity, all these different things, to walk on those levels. He's going to teach you to do that. He's not going to teach you to say that you're not worthy and to beat yourself down. But also he's going to teach you humility. He's going to teach you how to have humility, how to humble yourself, because pride comes before destruction and a haughty spirit before the fall. And so if you operating in a prideful spirit, then honestly, you're slated for destruction at some point, if not soon. So he's going to teach you to be humble, because in order to receive and to make it to grow spiritually, in order to grow spiritually, you gotta humble yourself. You gotta receive humility, understanding that you haven't reached the top of the top, or you don't know everything, that you're still learning, right? He's going to teach you all those things, in which of course the Christian community, they effectively don't introduce a lot of these things to their community. A lot of these things, they want you to think prosperity. They want you to think, oh, this, that, and the third. No, you got to understand the consequences, and you got to understand consequences to your actions, is also how to properly build and strengthen yourself in the Father, in Yeshua, in Jesus, things like that. And I think one of the biggest misconceptions that Christians create, right, is that Jesus was this soft-spoken, soft guy. You know what I'm saying? That honestly was just a pushover, or very, very complicit to what people were doing and saying. No, Jesus, Yeshua, was a man's man. They once called him a wine bibber because he drank wine. They once, he once went into the marketplace, flipped tables, and beat them with whipped them with cords. You show outwards of aggression. Of course, you see that he was aggressive in that situation. He was masculine in that situation. He was dominant in that situation. He was very strong in that particular situation. You see all of that there. Not only that, he told Peter, he said, if you don't have a sword, you need to sell your cloak and go buy one, meaning you need to go get some protection, right? To be able to protect and defend not only me, but yourself as well, Peter. Peter was a warrior. You understand what I'm saying? Peter was a warrior. He had a warrior spirit. In fact, when they came to try to take Yeshua or Jesus, Peter drew his sword and cut off the ear of one of the guards, right, who tried to seize him. So Peter was a straight up, not only was he a warrior, but he also was a hothead. You understand what I'm saying? So Jesus or Yeshua couldn't tell him certain things because he knew that Peter would act out. Peter would show out, and Peter would do something about it. So Peter was a warrior, and he also was the only one who was tasked to feed the flock of the Most High, right? After Yeshua's passing. So these are men who are actual warriors, right? In which Christianity would not give you that picture. They won't paint the picture of these are actual masculine men who are warriors, who didn't take no fluff, who didn't take no BS, right? Who stood for something, right? And stood on their grounds, and things like that, 10 tones down. But Christianity would preach and teach to you in a different type of Jesus, a different type of Yeshua, a different type of person, right? In which we don't know him. We don't know him till this day. We don't understand who he is, because we can't describe a soft-spoken, passive individual. We can't read about that type of individual in the Bible. We can't read about a Jesus who's soft-spoken and passive, and not somebody who's a masculine man, who's dominant, who's strong, who's powerful, somebody you can look to if you're a masculine man yourself, right? If you're a comprehensive man that Jason Wilson talks about often, because we know that Jesus also wept, knowing what was going on with his sheep, knowing that what would come for his sheep or for his people. So being able to be compassionate is another form of having a Christ-like spirit, of having a spirit like Yeshua, is being compassionate, of seeing the situation and showing mercy. That's a Christ-like type of spirit you can adapt. But also being masculine, being strong, being dominant, things like that in times where it's necessary, is also Christ-like. You know what I mean? They're not going to teach you that. They're not going to preach that, right? They give you the whitewashed version. Absolutely. They give you the whitewashed version of who he is, and as well as his disciples. Like I said, Peter was a warrior. John was a warrior. Peter and John ran together. They were like best buds. And they're not going to tell you that Peter, John, and I believe one other guy, but so far Peter and John, a lot of the disciples, they didn't really know each other like that. They weren't, if you were to go take and read the accounts when Yeshua was in the garden and before they seized him to take him to be crucified. Read the different accounts. Read everybody's account. Read John's. Read Peter's account of what took place and what happened that day. And you will start to notice that none of them really actually knew each other. A lot of them referred to each other as the guy who was walking with Peter or the guy who was moving with John. You know, they didn't actually know who each other were, right? They didn't know each other personally on that level. This is like one of the first times they ever really got together, all in the same room. And you can tell based on the scripture and based on what you read, you can tell that they didn't really know each other like that. When Yeshua or Jesus was having the conversation about somebody betraying him, you know, you have different accounts of that conversation because they were all in different locations or places because they, based on who they knew best, that's who they hung out with. These disciples didn't actually know each other personally like that. You had a few of them who knew each other, like John and Peter. They sat next to each other because they knew each other. They ran with each other. They both were warriors. They both were fighters. They both were very strong and masculine men, as well as Peter. Peter was the one who was the hothead of the group. He was the one who would get things. He would pop something off in a heartbeat. You understand what I'm saying? When it came about, when it was time to protect Yeshua or Jesus, he would listen. He would be the one. So there's some misconceptions and there's some misunderstandings that come from the scriptures. And that's the reason why we're tasked to individually study them on our own, because the things that I discover, I can share with you, and the things that you discover, you can share with me. And then guess what? We line upon line, here a little, there a little, right? Every jot and every tittle, we can be able to learn even more and grow and even more together. But there's a lot of misconceptions that Christianity pushes that's not true at all. And a lot hide behind the good news God spells. Yeah, yeah. And a lot of them hide behind the good news. And my thing is that no, there is no good news unless you can hear the bad. You know what I mean? You gotta hear if you're in a position where you're gonna destroy your own self, right? Right? You got to hear if you're going to destroy your own self. Like if you look at the dietary laws that are outlined in Leviticus, if you look at the dietary laws, pork holds a lot of parasites. Pork not only holds and harbors a lot of parasites, but also toxins. They're designed to hold in toxic waste. They're like Earth's trash cans. So when you're eating pork, then you're literally destroying your vessel in many different ways, right? Because it's not something that you should be eating or consuming. But that's the only thing that the Most High is trying to tell you. Don't eat pork because it's just not good for your body. If you want to live to be 100 and to be 100 and whatever years old, right? You want to live a very long life. You're going to follow the dietary laws of the Bible. You're going to follow the scriptures. You're going to do what's necessary. Not only that, you're going to have fasting and prayer, a heavy portion of your life. It's going to be a heavy portion of your life. You're going to be fasting and praying a lot, right? Or intermittent fasting and praying. You know what I'm saying? He was murdered for being a heretic, for going against the views of Abrahamic religions. Yes, he was murdered for being, they claimed he was a heretic. That's what they claimed. But what Yeshua was trying to do, he was trying to free your mind. He was trying to free your soul. He was trying to free your spirit. And what's he trying to free us from? He was trying to free us from perpetuating evil on each other, constant perpetuation, unforgiveness, harboring unforgiveness, eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. You understand what I'm saying? These things is what Yeshua or Jesus was trying to remove from us, right? Because it did not profit us. It made us have roots of bitterness. You understand what I'm saying? Deep roots of bitterness that we couldn't relieve, we could not remove. And then those roots of bitterness led to other illnesses within the body physically. And that's the reason why Yeshua was teaching for us to forgive our enemies and to love our enemies and to love one another as the Most High loves the church, or as Yeshua loves the church. This is the reason why he preached more of a message of love rather than of vengeance, right? Or of get back. You understand what I'm saying? And so that right there kind of went against the views of the Old Testament. The Old Testament, which taught you to an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, which left everybody blind, right? And in a state of destruction. You understand what I'm saying? Because your spirit can't properly restore if you are eye for an eye. Your spirit can't properly progress if you're tooth for a tooth. If you're doing things that the Old Testament would encourage you to do, like putting your brother out of the camp and removing him, right? And shunning him, those things, it could not allow your spirit to properly be restored, right? And so when you think about spirits that are trapped on this earth, okay, and you say they're a wandering spirit and they may have a negative energy, and you say you go into a room and you sense a negative energy, then that spirit may have been trapped in a negative energy, right? Meaning like when they passed away, they still had roots of bitterness, or they still had certain things that they could not get rid of while they were alive. So they were stuck, or they were trapped here in this plane. They couldn't move on to the next one. They couldn't move on to Shemaim or to glory. They can't move on because they were not able to hear while they were alive. And that's what I mean by grace. While you're alive, that's why he preaches forgiveness. That's why he preaches to 70 times 7 times 7, not so you can be abused, but so that you can relieve that bitterness from your heart, so you can get it out of there. And by the time it's time for you to go on to the next world, you don't have it rooted in this world. You don't have deep roots of bitterness in this world, in this realm, to where you can't move forward, right? To where you can move in to the Shemaim. So you can move into the peace, right? Into the peace, into the everlasting peace, the everlasting Father. That's why you got to do it. You got to do the work, the heavy lifting, the hard work, right? Because it's going to root you here in this world. You don't want to be trapped here. But that was his whole goal. That was his whole mission, was to get rid of that the ordinances, right, and the things and the consequences of sin. That's why he drew the line in that sand and said, "Ye without sin cast the first stone." So if you've never done anything unrighteous or wicked toward this individual, or to anyone in this world, if you've never done it, then cast your stone at them. But if you've done unrighteousness, if you've done wickedness, then guess what? You don't need to judge that person. You don't need to cast a stone at them, right? You don't need to try to murder them. You know what I mean? You need to find levels of forgiveness. Now, don't get me wrong, right? Being able to reveal somebody or call out somebody's sin is actually loving them. That's loving them, right? But to try to murder them or to do something to persecute them, right, for that sin, rather than giving them grace to repent, is something that is a no-no. Should never do it, right? And I'm pretty sure we all know that. Why do you think this? The reason why I believe this is because this is what I've read. I read this in, studying the scriptures, studying the Bible, studying the walk of Yeshua and what he really held true to. I've read a lot of this, and this is the reason why I know for a fact that that's what his goal was to free the conscious mind. So that way you can be able to move into Shemaim and glory with peace and not be held in roots of bitterness here on this earth, right? When you think about the scriptures, and he talks about that whatever shall be bound on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever shall be loosed on earth shall be loosed in heaven, in Shemaim and glory. He's not just talking about spiritual warfare, and it's all spiritual warfare, don't get me wrong. He's talking about if you've bound yourself to the things of this earth, right, that your spiritual gifts in heaven shall be bound in heaven, meaning you're not going to be able to loose spiritual gifts on this earth. You're not going to be able to cast out devils. You're not going to be able to heal the sick, raise the dead, cleanse the lepers, the things that are spoken about, the mighty works that they used to do back then, the mighty works that you can't do now, discernment of spirits, being able to having a heightened sense of discernment, walking into rooms where there's obvious danger present and be untouched. These sort of things, right, that Daniel was able to do when they threw him into the lion's den. The lions were just pets to him. Even though they were hungry, they still were just pets to him. These sort of things that you can tap into spiritually, those spiritual gifts will be bound in heaven because of the simple fact that you're bound to materialistic things. You're bound to the things of this earth. You care too much about material things. And if you are a chosen one of the Most High, guess what? He's going to relieve you of those bondages. He's going to be sure that every single time you get it misunderstood, he's going to reset your life over and over again until you get it clear that without him, you're nothing, right? And you're everything with him. All your strength and power comes from him, right? And you tap into those gifts spiritually, that strength and that power, but you give him glory and honor and you give him praise of that, right? But also, if you're getting materialistic things and you're just kind of loving it, right? And you're forgetting about the Father, then he's going to remind you that he's still here, that he still exists. And he's going to have you hit a brick wall from time to time to reset you. But if you're just thriving and flourishing, guess what? You're of a different kingdom. You understand what I'm saying? So reevaluate who you're serving. If you're not praying, if you're not fasting, if you're not talking about the Father, if you're not giving him glory in what you do, and you're successful, guess what you need to identify? Who do you truly serve? Because you don't serve the Father. I promise you that. He wants you to glorify his name. So in all the success that he gives you, he wants you to give him glory. If you're not giving him any glory, what makes you think that you're reaping the success from him? If you just microwave something real quick and throw it out there for 2 seconds here and there, you don't just fully let people know that it ain't you, it's the Father, right? In all that you do, then what success are you truly had? Because some people would think, oh, okay, well, yeah, you might say, I would like to thank God first, and then you'll move on into whatever else you got to say, but you ain't spent enough time there. You didn't give him glory and keep it there. So you can say it all you want and honor him with your lips, but your heart can be far from him. You got to give him actual glory. So if you're successful and you're not giving the glory to him, then you know who you serve because the relationship ain't there. You're not thinking about the Father. You right? Relationship ain't there. But let's continue. What else we got, man? What else we got? Y'all got some good questions here. You got some good convo. How did black people, Asian people, white people, Mexican people? How did black people, Asian people, what was that? Answer the question. Okay. How did black people come from Adam and Eve? How did Asian people come from Adam and Eve? That's a good question, Kimberly. Now, the white people and Asian people, okay, Caucasian people, how did black people come from Adam and Eve? Well, Adam and Eve were melanated. They were melanated beings when they first were created. So all races come from melanated people. Me personally, I can form and create all cultures of people, but not all cultures of people can form and create me, right? So if I were myself, were to reprocreate with a black woman, right? I can create all cultures of people. It can be a light-skinned child. It can be a dark-skinned child. Same thing with vice versa with a black woman. A black woman can create all cultures of people, right? Or can bring life into this world and birth all cultures of people, right? Because the man creates life, the woman gives life. And so that's where melanin, it all stems from melanin. If you're a white person, a so-called white person, or a Caucasian individual, right? You have less melanin than I do. And that's the only real difference. You don't have as much melanin, right? That's why we're melanated beings. Same thing with Asians. Asians is just a genetic mutation, a genetic code that's been mutated based on the region that they live in. That's how they come from Adam and Eve. It's just a genetic mutation. They come from the bloodline of Japheth, right? And me personally, I come from the bloodline of Shem. And of course, Africans, they come from Ham. And we all look the same, like all Shemites. They look similar to me. All Hamites, they look similar to individuals that you see in Africa, like the tall guys with really dark skin tones, and their hair is short, right? They can't grow hair much, facial hair and long, and hair on their heads. Asians, they stem from Africa as well. They have African roots. They're just a little bit lighter now because of dilution, right? They've been diluted over the years, right? And that's the only thing that really has taken place, is that they've been diluted. Like the melanin has kind of been washed out a bit. And that's about it. But they're still melanated beings. Their ancestors come from Africa, right? Same thing with Caucasians or white people. Their ancestors do come from Africa. They have African ancestors as well. So it's like we all have African ancestors. We all stem from the same region or place, but there's been some genetic mutations in certain regions based on where they chose to reside, right? The conditions will change you. Have you ever grown a basil plant, or a basil tree, or basil plant? Have you ever grown basil? Now try growing basil indoors, okay? During the summer. Grow basil indoors during the summer. And then once it's grown, and it's grown pretty well, take that same basil plant and place it outdoors. You're going to see the basil plant is going to morph. It's going to change. Its genetic makeup is going to completely change. You know why? Because it's going to be protecting itself from the sun rays. It's going to protect itself from the elements. It's going to protect itself from its environment. It's the same thing with all living creatures here on this earth. They're going to develop things. They're going to mold itself. It's going to shape itself to protect itself in certain ways. So, if you are a Caucasian individual and you're coming from the Caucasus Mountains, you have developed a certain type of genetic mutation that will allow you to survive during the winter because it's cold in that region, right? And that's just kind of what it is. Caucasian people or white people, they can withstand cold weather much longer than melanated individuals. We're more tropical people, right? And that's just kind of what it is. But they also get less sunlight. Hence that's the reason why there's a lack of melanin in that genetic pool, right? Now, of course, if we were to mix each other together, well, listen, we can be able to create a different type of being that will have more melanin, that can adapt to the sun better, right? Of course, because Caucasian white people, they burn when they get under the sun. That's why sunscreen, it ain't for melanated people. Sunscreen is for people who have melanin deficiency. You naturally adapt to the sun. You naturally adapt to sunlight. This is what you do when you're a melanated being. Stop putting on sunscreen. You don't need sunscreen. You need the sun to actually absorb the sun. You need that. As a melanated being with minerals, high-end minerals, you need the sunlight. You need to absorb that. Stop putting on sunscreen. You're not going to develop cancerous cells. You're designed to receive sun energy, sunlight, okay? Where other groups or other sects or cultures who are melanin deficient, they are not designed that way. They're just not designed to receive too much melanin. Now, once they've already went through their, let's say, like I told you, I gave you the reference of the basil tree. You grew it indoors. Then you took that same basil tree and then you planted it outdoors. It starts to morph and change and harden its roots and harden its stems so it can be able to adapt to its environment. Same thing with non-melanated people. That's the reason why after they're done burning through the sun, they morph and they change and they have more melanin in their skin now, right? They have more melanin now, but they're also subject to cancerous cells. It could develop cancerous cells because they're not designed to be in the sunlight for that long. They're not designed for it, right? They're just not. But, they can be in it for a certain amount of time and they'll morph, they'll change, they'll evolve. But then it'll also go right back to their genetic pool. It'll revert back once they start to have a sunlight deficiency. And that's just kind of how it works, I guess, if I'm explaining that effectively enough. Shorties is they're a little diluted. I mean, it is what it is. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you start to, let's say you juice a pineapple, right? You juice the pineapple. Let's say you halfway fill up your container with pineapple juice. And then you take a natural spring mineral water and then you fill it up the rest. It's not going to be as dark. It's not going to be as thick. It's going to be more thin, but it's still going to have its flavor and stuff. But it's just not going to be as dark and thick, right? It's going to be a lot lighter now, right? That's just kind of what it what happens. That's kind of what takes place. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. So when you see those, because in those regions for Asia, things like that, there were dark melanated people in those regions, but they started to mix with like lighter skinned people, so that produced lighter people, right? Black Hebrew Israelite. I'm not a black Hebrew Israelite. I do. Well, the people in the Bible consider themselves to be a Hebrew. Okay, they consider themselves to be Israelites, and so that's what I consider myself because that's what book I read from. But I'm not a black Hebrew Israelite. I respect and I love all cultures of people. You know what I mean? I believe that they all can gain the kingdom, that they all are capable of having and earning salvation as long as they keep the law, statute, commandments of the Most High. And they, so that's what I believe. I don't believe that there'll be servants in the kingdom, even though it might read something like that. But I mean, I believe that the Most High has put them on a playing field to where they are just as worthy to earn their salvation as a person who's homeborn. Okay, so that's my belief system based on what Scripture tells me. Right? Can everyone receive salvation? I believe so. Mods be funny today. Yeah, that's okay. Hello, brother. Nigga has a parking lot for a forehead and got okay. Okay. Bro got jokes. Let me see. Bro got jokes, huh? Anyways, ain't gonna read that one. What else we got? What else we got? Hopefully that answers your question. I don't know if Kimberly made a rebuttal to that or if she got an understanding, but she can't change the race. Um, you talking about a black woman? Is that what you're talking about? Because yeah, black people, all races, all cultures of people come from melanated people. They all stem from melanated individuals. Kimberly, Moabites were the original Chinese and Asian people before white people came into the scene. Also, repent for insulting the Most High for accusing him of that. I don't know what she accused him of, but yeah, you should chill out. It's not that serious. Life don't get serious enough to do all that, Kimberly. Life don't get serious enough to do all that either way. Tupac said it in a song about the darker the berry. Yeah, the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. That's right. The darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. And that holds true, with everything in this world. When you have something that is more, I would say, potent, right? That's why, some of the most powerful beings on this planet is individuals who have a lot of melanin. You see that they are very highly melanated individuals, right? And it just seems like they have a lot of power. In just their makeup, period. Their organs are stronger, more durable, things like that. The more melanin you have, the more powerful you are, to tell you the truth. And sunlight will just produce and add more melanin to your body. And that's just what it is. You can ask plenty. You can research this. You can Google this. You can chat GTP it. Chat GTP. Here's something very interesting for you guys to talk about on chat GTP. Ask chat GTP if it was a return, if it was to choose what race it could be, right? And let's say that it wanted to start the world all over and repopulate the earth, right? What race would it come back as? What race? Ask ChatGPT. What is the most logical race you would choose to be on this earth to repopulate it as? What makes sense? I've asked it these questions and ChatGPT multiple times, right? And AI multiple times have said that it would be melanated person. It would be a melanated individual that it would be to choose to repopulate, just based on the environment, based on things that needs to be adaptability. But But ask questions like that. Google it, research it. Same thing with other coaches. Like I said, I love all cultures of people, including Caucasians and things like that as well. But they themselves will tell you that they would have to mix in order to survive. You know, I'm just saying, just so they can be able to adapt to the elements. Because yeah, we've been blessed with melanin. So don't like I said, don't s don't get the SPF 30, or don't put the sunscreen on. Just go ahead. Love your melanin. Use 100% cocoa butter or shea butter or coconut butter. Yeah, absolutely. Use shea butter, coconut butter. In fact, I got quite a bit of shea butter. I make a lot of different shea butter things. I actually use a lot of different shea butters in my hair and things like that. That is infused with herbs that'll help it grow and be healthy and strong. I use it in my beard too. It really works too, y'all. Kimberly started for blasphemy. Yeah, and get into a spirit of debate. Yeah, that's interesting. It's okay, Ain't nobody worried about Kimberly. Hopefully she's blessed though. Hopefully she finds an understanding. And if I'm not able to provide that to her, I hope that somebody can, and that her heart and her soul would be at peace. This is your brother from Inglewood. Oh, okay, from Inglewood, California. Can you give me? Do we have? Can you give me? Do we have a firmament over the planet? Okay, a firmament over the planet from your studies, because that's what I keep reading. And then if they say it's not real, it's real. Yeah, that's true. Tom Dennis, yeah. I mean, honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm going to adhere to what the Bible has to say in regards to there being a firmament. I'm going to be honest with y'all on this conversation, man. I'm going to be truthful. I'm going to keep it real. Y'all ready for this? When we take a look at the diasporas of history, we look at the different cultures, the different societies that have come up and risen up over the decades, over the centuries. And we see that they have been advanced in certain technologies that we have not been able to touch just yet here on this earth. My thing is this, right? We can't even answer questions as to why Egypt has coils of copper at the bottom of the pyramids. We just discovered recently, right? Or it's just been made public recently. Not that they recently discovered it, they just recently made it public that there's pillars wrapped in copper at the bottom of these pyramids, and that these things were being used for energy. What type of energy? What type of energy? What type of thing? What were they doing with these things? Right? Who can answer the question of that? Why have everybody forgotten all of the ancient techniques that's being used not only throughout Egypt but also throughout Babylon, the Mesopotamia, everywhere where society was thriving? The Moors, things like that had different things. Why is it that we've lost the art of understanding these things to where people can explain it thoroughly, and there's writings or whatever it may be that would break down the reasons they did what they did, right? The art of it. Why is it that cities were being powered in Egypt by airwaves, by electrical frequencies, by airwaves, kind of like how we get Wi-Fi today? And it's not being powered by cables, right? Like right now, I'm connected to a cable. It wasn't powered by cables. This was powered by airwaves, by electromagnetic, by electrons. You understand what I'm saying? Why did we lose this technology, right? But then they want to tell you the globe or the earth is round, okay? Instead of it being what the Bible describes it as, right? A separation between the waters of the earth and a separation between the waters in the heavens, which the earth and heaven is the same age. They've been developed and molded and shaped all at the same time. So the heavens and the earth are the same age and they work in tandem together. We need the heavens just as much as we need the earth, right? They work in tandem together. They balance each other out. That's how that's how the Most High is able to sustain all life here on this earth. Before he can actually create life, he had to create the heavens and the earth. That's sustainability. He had to sustain the life, meaning the heavens is very important even now, right? The heavens is very important to us even now for our life and our sustainability, the balance of this earth. Because you know the Most High hates a false balance. So the heavens and the earth they work in tandem and at the same time. How is it that now we come from being what the Bible describes as a flat surface with a firmament, right? And with waters to now it's a globe, it's a circular shape in which they have already communicated that that is just a created photo. It's not an actual picture of the earth, right? It's a created photo for what they perceive the earth to look like. But the earth is what described out in Genesis as being something with a firmament, with a dome over top of it. That's the reason why we can't make it to certain parts in space. The reason why they said that we've been to the moon and we ain't been back since, because we've never been there. This is the reason why. So it's like, my thing is that we had a lot of technology over the centuries, right? In Egypt and other sects, right? The Moorish community that was there. We had so much different technology that has all but been lost, right? Why did we lose it? Why did we lose it? How did we lose all of this technology and knowledge of the technology? How after all of this time are we just discovering things in Egypt, right? When I'm pretty sure they already had the information, they just recently made it public. How? Why? Why don't you already know and understand how it worked? You understand what I'm saying? I've been knowing that the pyramids were being used for power as a power source. What type of power source? Was it being used to open up portals for people to be able to transport things from one planet to the next, right? Was it being used for that? Was it being used to power the cities, literally, right? To power cities through electromagnetic neutrons, through airwaves, kind of how we got Wi-Fi now, kind of how we got Wi-Fi and YouTube now. I'm coming to you. You're seeing me on your phone right now, and this is through different neutrons and the electric. This ain't no you. I'm not hard lined into your phone. I'm not wired into your phone. They literally beam me into your phone right now. And this is kind of what technology Egypt had then, right? And so God's wrath, I'm seeing in the chat, absolutely. I will say that the Most High, just like he confused the languages back when Nimrod was trying to overcome or overthrow or build the Tower of Babel, he destroyed that thing and confused the speeches of the people. Same situation here. The technology was getting advanced, right? And they thought that they will become gods and can become like gods. Why not make us forget exactly what that technology would do? Because it was going to be onto our own detriment, right? Onto our own detriment. It wasn't something that was going to be a benefit to us. You understand what I'm saying? It was going to be our own detriment. It's going to mean our own destruction. Now we're moving into an age of transhumanism where people are going to want bionic arms. They're going to want all of this technology to be integrated into their minds, into their bodies. And we're moving into this particular age to where people no longer want to be human. They no longer want to be what the Most High created them to be. The perfection, the perfect being that they've been created to be. They want to be something more, something that is not as perfect, something that is easy to control. And how many individuals will be able to be under full subjection and full control once they make that transition? When you read Revelation and how people would turn, right, on their own people, it would make it very easy if you have a chip implanted in your mind to where, sort of like MK Ultra, they're able to flip a switch and get you to behave the way that they want you to behave. That'll make it easy for them to be able to conquer you, especially when they take away the only line of defense you have, which is your own right, your Second Amendment right. So it's like when you start entering into this age of transhumanism and they're making it look cool in these movies and they're making it look dope and like, man, I can be like Cyborg and I can do this and that and the third and whatever, quality of life, things like that. You got to know that that does not come without a cost. It's going to cost you something. It's going to cost you a decision, right? Whereas they're making these sort of augmentations, these things that you do when they're making popular veneers, right? Veneers are very popular nowadays. Nowadays, you don't even love who you are and the imperfections of who you are. You got to go and run and cover it up. So you got women who put hair on their head, right? They put hair on their hair and they put eyelashes on their eyelashes to cover up the imperfections. They go get veneers. They go get breast jobs and things like that and different breast augmentations. They go and get BBLs, right? Instead of putting in the work to actually accomplish these things physically, they actually cover it up and mask it, right? They make it easier and more receptive when they say, hey, I think you should put these eyeballs in your eyes. They can be able to read people's history, right? And go all the way back in their social media history. They can be able to see everything that they're talking about on social media with these eyeballs. Replace your your most high designed eyeballs, right? That's been naturally perfect from day one. Replace that with these new AI eyeballs that will get you to read and see things in light speed on this earth. They're perfect for the earth to conform you better to the earth, but they're not perfect for the kingdom. They're not. You can't spiritually discern with these eyeballs, y'all. The eyeballs that they're going to sell you, that technology, you can't look at somebody and see their soul. You can't see who they truly are, right? And discern them. The eyes are the gateway to the soul. When you look into those type of technology type of eyes, right, or looking through them, there's no way you can be able to know who means you well or know who does not, right? You can't discern. There's no way you can use discernment. You can't identify when someone's wicked or evil because you got this technology in your face, and you're thinking that you're better now. No, you're just at a disadvantage because somebody like me comes along who's spiritually tapped in, right, are better than me, who's even more spiritually tapped in, will be able to discern you, read you, and run laps around you because we're connected to the Holy Spirit. The Holy Spirit is the thing that's going to beat out everything. And they want you to believe that this technology is going to help you be better. It's not. This technology is going to make you even more of a soy boy. It's going to make you even more defective. It's going to make you even more less than who you really are. No one wants to be human anymore. They want to be transhuman. They want to be transgender. You understand what I'm saying? That's what they want to be. They want to adapt to a different way of life that they believe is going to be beneficial to them. That's going to be beneficial to their own flesh and not to their spirit. Because there's nothing that's more powerful than your spirit. Your spirit comes from what? It don't come from a fleshly essence. This is divine. When you don't no longer want to tap into a Holy Spirit, a divine entity, a divine spirit that dwells within you, you no longer want to tap into that. You become cold. You become like a machine. You become mechanical. You become extremely depressed. You become materialistic. You become insecure. You become all these different things because how can you find security within yourself if God ain't in you? If the Most High not in you, then how can you ever be secure within yourself if he's not in you? The only way you can be confident in you is if you have him in you. If you're walking with him, if he is within you. The only way you can do that. But yet you're going to run to a world, right? And you claim that you have, you're like God or you have God in you, but you run to the world for validation. You seek validation from mere mortals, right? But you claim that you are like the Most High, that you have the Most High in you. If you're a true believer in the Messiah, you should never seek validation from mere mortals. These people aren't believers. You are a believer. You're a chosen one of the Father. You should never seek validation from people who don't believe. You should never seek to win an argument with an unbeliever. You should always seek to plant seeds. You plant a seed, but you don't battle them because it's not even worth it. At the end of the day, you are a greater being. You are a higher being who operates in a higher frequency, who has more protection, who sees life through a different lens, the beauty of it, the strength of it, and even the pain. You see it on a different level. You see the strength and the power of the Most High. They don't see that. They've never experienced it. And so instead of them doing the work it takes to experience it, they want to microwave the experience. You put the work in. Why they want to microwave it. Why they want to get the things and gain the things of this world. You're the one who locked in spiritually and who spiritually was using your discernment. You're the one who the Most High has blessed with that gift, not them. So there's no reason to argue with people who do not believe. There's no reason to argue with them. It's like broken pencils. It's pointless. They won't be on the level that you're on, and only the Most High can bring them into that level. So you gotta let Yah do the work. That's why he says that vengeance is mine and I shall repay. Because if you cannot handle it on your own, then you leave it to the Most High Yah. And guess what? When you leave it to the Most High, he gonna handle it however he handle it. It ain't up to you to decide. You can always pray for the individual to receive mercy, though. That's always a great thing to do. That they receive mercy in the things that they're doing. Either to you or to others. That they will receive mercy. That Yah would be merciful in his judgment. You can pray about that. But once it's left to Yah, there's nothing left for you to do. Same thing if they're lost and they need to be found, Yah will bring them into the knowledge of truth. He will remove the scales off their eyes. You can pray for that removal. But you can't dictate when they remove the scales. You don't have the power to dictate that. So there's no point in argument. There's no point in arguing. I believe Peter said it best. Our beloved brother Peter said it best. He said that, and I'm going to paraphrase it here because I'm trying to remember exactly what it is. He said that it is not profitable for a wise man to argue with fools. And I'm paraphrasing that. It's not profitable for a wise man to argue with fools. You shouldn't argue with them. Are they behaving foolish? Yes. But, my thing is that they're still worthy and worth to be saved, right? And you're not going to be the one doing the saving. You can do the seed planting, right? But you can't do the saving. You understand what I'm saying? Jason Hill, are you ready for Christmas? I don't celebrate Christmas. I don't celebrate Christmas, so no, I won't be doing Christmas. No, we can't do the same in Jesus Christ, ending up. No, we can't do the same in Jesus Christ, ending up, but he helped us to make it possible. Right, absolutely. I felt this stuff when I was on shrooms. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I heard about people doing it, and honestly, tell you the truth, if you need like something like that in order to tap in spiritually, then you gotta reevaluate what you're doing, because you shouldn't need anything in order to tap in spiritually. You might need to reevaluate what you're eating, what your diet is, what are you consuming, not only through your ear gates, your eye gates, what are you putting into your mouth? What are you doing, right? You got too many distractions. You can't tap in spiritually. You shouldn't need psychedelics in order to tap in spiritually. You should be able to walk spiritually you should be able to walk. You shouldn't need this psychedelics or none of that stuff, crystals and herbs and sage and all that other stuff in order to tap in spiritually. You shouldn't need it, right? You shouldn't need it. You shouldn't need it. But I hear you, though. I hear you, though. Digital ID is the start of the mark. Dude, we've been under the mark. It's called currency. Maybe read. Now currency. Okay, so now currency. I hear you. But what did they do? We've been under the mark. I mean, Rome had currency. All of the civilizations come before us. It all had currency. The mark of the beast. The mark of the beast has definitely been outlined in the Bible. It has distinct characteristics. Now, this will be a choice, okay? It'll be something that's implanted, that's put in you. That will be on your forehead or in your arm. That's what the mark of the beast will be. And they're currently developing that technology, right? But the beast system is what we're currently witnessing, and that's what we see is the beast system. No, we can't do the same. Oh, wait, let me see something. Who like the Dead Sea Scrolls? Dead Sea Scrolls are cool. I'm a person who lacks self-worth, and I'm hearing what you're saying, G. Yeah, yeah, value yourself. Yeah, value yourself and all your imperfections. Be sure that you find ways to overcome those spirits that try to tell you you're not perfect. You understand what I'm saying? You are perfect. That's why y'all designed you the way that you designed you. Yeah, one of your big toes is shorter than the other. Guess why? Because one day you're going to have to utilize that imperfection to save a life. Potentially, right? Potentially. But he does everything for a reason, and things happen for a reason, okay? Sometimes things happen like that for a reason, deformities, things like that, just to show compassion, teach you how to show compassion for another person. What do you guys think about the digital ID, brothers and sisters? Yeah, digital ID is definitely something that's on the rise, and you got to be fully aware of. Digital ID is the beginning of the mark. That's right. And they're going to see, and they're going to war out. They're going to do their testing. They're going to do their trying. They're going to see who's going to receive it and who's not. That's why COVID happened. They wanted to see how receptive the populace would be in receiving these things and lining up for these things. If they made the situation a dire situation like they did COVID, they want to see how many people would comply. Now, it's definitely a choice. It was all a choice from the beginning, and it's still a choice right now. But my thing is this, right? Then they later came back out and told the truth that vaccine, the vaccination, was something that was not very beneficial to people's health. And they actually start to validate what a lot of these doctors was trying to warn people of, that death could come for you when you're taking these vaccinations that were not very safe. And they finally came back out and actually admitted it, right? After the fact, after they censored us, after they put us down, after they destroyed any truth that could come out about it, after they imprisoned us, after they've thrown us in jail, after they assassinated us, now finally they admit to the truth. And that's how it works. Deny, deny, deny. Plausible deniability until they themselves, right, can't run from the truth any longer. Now you get to deal with the consequences of your actions and the repercussions. They have to always tell you the evil or the wickedness they've done to you. They got to always make it very clear to you. If they don't do it, they've broken their contract, okay? These people who are diehard Satanists are people who are doing things to manipulate the earth, right? They have to tell you what they've done to you. They have to tell you what they're doing. And if they don't tell you, they're breaking the contract, they're breaking the oath, and they're not receiving their blessings from the house of Satan. You understand what I'm saying? They have to tell you. You gotta know it. Just like the melanated community, the black community, they are being told that the rap music is poisoning their mind. They're being told that their generations are going to continue to vote Democrat, the Democratic Party, the same Democratic Party that's destroying your communities time after time after time. They're being told that these things are going to happen and take place, and they're still choosing to do it. Okay? But he says that the Most High says that my people are destroyed from a lack of knowledge because they reject knowledge, and therefore he shall reject them. So they gotta tell you. They can't just harbor a secret from you and secretly get things done. They gotta tell you what they're doing. They're bound by oath to tell you what they're doing. His name is Peter. It was Simon. And is Rock. You're forgetting the Bible is the book of Jews with until Paul and Tardis came along. Yeah, Yahudims is what they were called. They are Jews, or Yahudims, or Hebrews, or Israelites. I'm not forgetting that. I know that to be true. And they were also not like the Ashkenazi Jewish individuals that are currently in Israel. Nothing like that. They not the same. They come from Ashkenazi. The ones who are residing in Israel currently, they come from Ashkenazi. They're Ashkenazi Jewish individuals, right? And yeah, some of them can are from the bloodline of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But you know, you do have some who are not, right? And Zionists are radical, but they are definitely not of the tribe of Judah. They could definitely have some of them who are coming from a certain bloodline, coming from a certain house or a tribe, but they're Ashkenazis. They're not supposed to be in that land. And that's just the facts, okay? Y'all can be mad at me later, all right? I'm going to send you a hundred. Man, listen, bless you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that offer, man. You know, either way, it's all love. And I really appreciate you for offering that. Thank you so much. And all praises to the Most High. The Catholic Church made edits to the books they took from the Israelites. That's right. They did edit it. They did take some things out. And I will tell you this, even the Ashkenazi Jews, the Jewish individuals, they don't agree with Zionists. A lot of them don't agree. A lot of them protest Zionist positions. They don't show you this on media. They don't show you the Ashkenazi Jewish individuals who are protesting and going up against Zionists and the Zionist agenda. All this destruction that you see that Israel is causing, the wars that they're planning on this earth, you know, the wars that they're planning. There's Ashkenazi Jews that live in Israel currently who are protesting, who object, who also believe in Yeshua, Jesus, the Messiah, who don't hold the same viewpoints as Zionists, right? As radical Zionists do. Now, a radical Zionist can be described and outlined in Revelations 2:9 and also Revelations 3:9. And we all know this, right? We know this to be true. We know this to be factual, right? So it's like a thing is to where, since we know that's who they are, we know that our brothers and sisters who are Ashkenazi Jewish individuals, right, who are living in Israel, obviously they're not supposed to be there, but they're supposed to be in Ashkenazi, right? They're supposed to be closer to Russia. These individuals do not agree with Zionist views. They don't agree. They believe the same thing that we believe, that the mass genocide of Palestinian people or other peoples is absolutely wrong. So we can't paint a broad brush, and we can't identify all Jewish or Ashkenazi Jews to be devils or anything like that, because they also hold the same viewpoints that you won't see here in the U.S. You won't see that here in the States. You got to go on different platforms in order to see the levels of protests that they're doing against Zionist views, radical Zionist views. And I know I'll get in trouble for talking about this, but I'm not anti-Semitic. I'll just let you know that, because I am Shemitic. So I'm not anti-Semite. I am Shemitic. So I can't be, but I can talk about it, right? Zionists in the East over there are doing witchcraft. Pray over your chicken dinners to break curses and poverty and other spirits and return them back to the senders. Yeah, and so that's also a thing. These Zionists are also pushing that. You got to understand the level of chemical warfare. And do you know what group of people actually wage the war with chemical warfare? Especially when you are heavy in melanin. Listen, these particular food outlets like Popeyes and things like that, they have chemicals in their food. A lot of this food is on shelves with chemicals. That's why I tell you guys to download the app Yukon or Yuka, the Yuka app, Yuka, the Yuka app. Download the Yuka app. When you pick up anything that's in a box or a bag with a barcode, scan it to see what's in it, what artificial preservatives is in it, what high risk additives are put in there. You got to scan that joint, scan it and see what's in it, because there's chemical warfare happening all over the place. And guess what? Zionists pushing it. Zionists are pushing it to eradicate a lot of you individuals off of this planet. And they just want to do it because they have a contract. And when Satan knows he has but a short amount of time, he's going to ramp up his efforts, ain't he? And he going to go harder. So yeah, he going to go hard. That's why there's so much soy in every product you pick up off the shelf. You know, a soybean is meant to mutate you. A soybean is meant to change your genetic code. A soybean is designed to do that to you. That's the way that the soybean is made and designed, especially for men. That's the reason why it's banned in so many different countries, but the U.S. Because the U.S. want the men to be emasculated. They want the men to be weak, to be docile, to be complicit, to be subservient. They want the men to not have any strength or chutzpah about them, no masculinity, right? There's a war waged on that because masculinity is what wins wars. Masculinity is what inspires people. Masculinity and strength is what does it. Being complicit, being weak, being docile does not inspire people to revolt against something that is tyranny. So if they can be able to demasculate you, if they can be able to dumb you down and make you conform and dance all day long on TikTok, then they can be able to control your mind. The destruction of the mind is the loss of autonomy, the ability for you to choose. When you brush your teeth with fluoride toothpaste, guess what? You lose your ability to choose. You stop wanting to fight. You stop wanting to argue. You stop wanting to go against tyranny because you're brushing your teeth with fluoride, calcifying your pineal gland, the gland that you need to be able to have those type of thoughts, right? That produces that type of, energy, right? This is what you're running into. This is what we're all running into. And we know this. That's why a lot of us are making great switches and changes. YUKA app, awesome. Use it all the time. Yeah, I use it all the time at the grocery store. I'll be scanning everything left and right, Sister Rose. Shout out to you. Bless you. Yes, ma'am. I'll be using it all the time. Scanning left and right. Hormonal change using soybean. That's right. That's right, Sister Rose. Yeah, using the soybean. Also, if you get chicken from the fast food restaurants, pray over it too. They speak poverty over the chickens. They swing. Okay, they swing and have it shipped out. Yeah, because they do those little rituals. And you got a great point there to pray over it. Make sure you rebuke it and break those bonds and curses over it for poverty and things like that. And, of course, they all about their money. So they want to be sure that they're the ones who are making it. All right. And they're staying within power. Yep. The hormonal changes. Yeah. Exactly. Tell them, Warsheep. Hold up. What's wrong with toothpaste? Yeah. I mean, you're better off brushing your teeth with brushing your teeth with baking soda and what else can you put in it? My mother does it all the time. Baking soda, and you can do some lemon juice or something like that. Make a little paste out of it. You're better off doing it like that. It'll whiten your teeth and it'll do all the things you needed to do without that chemical and without other chemicals destroying your mind. Do you guys know that your mouth, your mind, things like your mouth is something that affects your body? Anything that's taken in orally, right? Of course, it affects your whole entire body. Your mouth, if your mouth is having issues or struggling, right, then usually you can be able to tell signs of near death because of the way that your breath smells, right? Or if your gum or your dental hygiene is not proper, if it's not correct, if you're not brushing properly, you can tell that your whole entire body is going to be affected by what's going into your mouth, okay, or what's happening in your mouth. So if your dental hygiene is bad, then guess what? Yeah, vinegar. Vinegar is a good one too, right? Peroxide. Peroxide is a good one to use as well. It might be hard on the enamel, or it might be good. I don't, what I've heard is that peroxide is hard on the enamel, but some people say that it's actually pretty good. But so it's kind of like a mixed bag right now, right? But get some toothpaste that's fluoride free. I use a lot of native products because I scan it and it's usually got some great ratings on a Yuka app. And so I use a lot of native products, not only for and this one called Hello. This one is super fresh, fluoride free toothpaste, right? Has no fluoride in it, super fresh. Is coconut oil. It's natural peppermint in here with coconut oil in it as well, which is also a great thing to use. Coconut oil helps with killing a lot of different bacteria, bad bacteria in the gut, in the mouth, right? You wish a little bit of coconut oil in your mouth for about 20 minutes or so. You're gonna have some healthy gums. You're gonna have some healthy teeth. But Hello is really very good. Hell is low, but hell is low. But Hello is a really good brand when you need something, right? When you need something to be fluoride free. You gotta have that autonomy. Like I said, if they can be able to strip away your autonomy, your ability to choose, then they'll do that. And they'll do it through toothpaste. They'll do it through other things like water. You're drinking different water, like tap water that has fluoride in it. um, you know, that right there will help you lose your mind, right? That that'll help you lose your mind. You understand what I'm saying? To where you no longer want to fight. You no longer want to go against tyranny. You know what I mean? You're going to be complicit, docile. You know what I mean? All that other stuff. You know what I mean? Like sperm count low for men, right? Low libido for women. Not really interested in reproduction. Things like that. It affects a lot. Vibrating on a spiritual level, on a high spiritual level, right? Being able to tap into the Holy Spirit. Those things is what they want to suppress and oppress, right? Didn't even know fluoride free is a thing. Man, yes, sir. Fluoride free is most definitely a thing. And I'll show you the brand. You should definitely switch to that. It's still good. It's still really good. It'll you get everything cleaned up for you, sir Crust. And it'll still do it, but fluoride free. It doesn't calcify your pineal gland. It doesn't hinder your mind from being able to expand the way it's supposed to. You understand what I'm saying? It don't do none of that. It'll keep you in full motion. Our water is treated with slash fluoride. Yep, and chlorine. That's right. So eventually, you know what? I can't say it on here, y'all, but I reminded myself of a project that I was actually working on in regards to that. But I gotta keep it to myself because you know how people go, how people do. Your body is your temple, protected. That's right, Sister Rose. Yeah, that's right, Sister Rebecca. That's correct. Our water is tested with fluoride and other chemicals like chlorine. You're absolutely right. Y'all are on point with that. Okay, now let's go spicy thoughts on our president. It's funny. I believe that Donald Trump, man, when he took office, everybody was encouraged and motivated that he would take office and do what he said he was going to do. It looks like he's kind of backing down from what his administration promised. And I think that's a bit disheartening because you believed in a movement that would put America first and American citizens first, and now it seems as though he might be backing down from that particular movement. And I can only think that he's being encouraged from other powers to do so. You understand what I'm saying? So it's been a shift. It's been a change, especially with MAGA. It's been a total shift and a total change, especially with MAGA. And the culture of MAGA, and also, of course, Donald Trump. The culture has shifted and the culture has changed. MAGA needs to hold Donald Trump fully accountable for making promises that he's not looking to keep right now. Don't get me wrong, there's certain things that he has been able to accomplish, but some of the core issues to be addressed, he has not addressed those just yet. And I would like to see him do so before his administration is over with. So that's my thoughts on Trump. Let's see, controlled opposition. Plus Dow, Ringo, Floridian, Rollo, Brainwaves, and another cult leader love Trump. Bro Vic, you are right. They do be running and gunning for Trump. Now Dow, I got reasons to believe that Dow is a CIA agent, okay, undercover, and he's meant to deceive people. You understand what I'm saying? He's just planted there to bring about a great deception, and that's his job, right? And I got reasons to believe that, but I can't confirm that. You know what I mean? Of course, I don't have any real tangible proof and evidence to confirm it though. But the only thing I can really say is he's ex-military and he loves military people. So if he doesn't have people that are CIA agents in his camp already, he himself, I believe he's one, or an informant of one, right? Let's see. I remember we was at a feast day for Dow, and I remember there were drones and things like that that did not belong to any of the tech team. They would be flying overhead, taking pictures, doing things like that, whatever, video recording, and they didn't belong. The drones that were flying up above, they were flying pretty high, but they didn't belong to any of the tech team saints or any of the saints that are on grounds. In fact, it was very odd because there was at least two of them that would be flying around, right? And they were pretty high. So that's why I'm like, they must be sniffing them out a little bit. Get a water purifier for cooking or drinking water. Yo, I do need to get a burpee system. I currently use Crystal Geyser for all of my drinking and things like that. Crystal Geyser, I usually buy cases of the gallons of waters. But y'all know that, man. Listen, I prefer to just spend the money one time on a burpee system and be done with it, y'all. You understand what I'm saying? Because literally, you be running out of water. You'll be tapping into your resources. Here you go, right? And all you're trying to do is boil a pot of noodles so you don't have all of this junk in your food, you know? I'm trying to tell you. Facts, G. Look behind the Latin meaning of MAGA. Oh, come on now. Hey, it's funny. Him and his people call themselves men of God, false prophets. Yeah, false teachers. I mean, come on. We got to be honest when we see it. I mean, listen, Yeshua or Jesus came onto the sinners, not the ones who feel like that they are righteous. So if you see somebody and they self-righteous and they claim about how righteous they are, and you can definitely discern that there's nothing spiritual about them, right? They're more hung up on the works, right? They're more hung up on the material things in life. Then you know for a fact that this person is not of the Most High. I mean, if you say you're righteous, then you have the fruits of the Spirit, right? You'd be thinking spiritually. Whereas to where you can come across a lot of individuals who you would view as a sinner, and they're more spiritual and righteous than these individuals who claim to be righteous. For real. Like, will give you the shirt off their back. And these Christian pastors and theologians wouldn't dare even step foot near you. You know you're beneath them. You're a peasant in their eyes, and they'll never come towards you. They'll never give you the shirt off their back. They'll never do any of those things. So the most important part is to not live in fear. Fear is what the enemy uses. Be aware, but let the Spirit guide you. Stay content in prayer. Yeah, the moment you guys stop, the moment that I'm not going to say you guys currently walk in fear. So let me back up. But the moment the people who do walk in fear, once they start to identify the level of power and strength that comes from the Most High, and they walk in that truth, they walk in that power, they walk in that strength, and they stop living in fear, then they'll be a totally different person. Totally different. unstoppable. I promise you. When you remove the element of fear as a hindrance, then guess what? You cannot be stopped. In the spirit, in the physical, they see that level of fear being removed from you. Y'all remember that one movie that people hated with Will Smith and Jaden Smith? What was it called? I'm trying to think about what it was called. But these creatures, the creatures that were in that movie with Jaden Smith and Will Smith, right? Somebody put it in the chat for me. Earth, Earth. I believe, ain't that the name of the movie? Earth. Those creatures could sense the people based on their fear. So the creatures, the movie is called Earth with Will Smith. Yeah, those creatures could sense them based on their level of fear. And the soldiers had to master fear in order to defeat these creatures. It's the same thing with demonic spirits. They be telling you things in these movies. Yeah, they said that that movie is trash, but it really what is revealing to you is that Yah don't give us the spirit of fear, but of peace and of power and of a sound mind and of love. And so when you start to walk in those spirits and not in the spirit of fear, you can overcome and defeat any demon, any demonic force. That movie showed you that these demonic spirits, these demons, these creatures could only be able to harm you based on your levels of fear. That's it. They fed on fear. Same thing with demons. Demons feed on fear. They feed on anxiety. They literally feed on it. So they'll cause you to go into a state of fear, of panic, of anxiety, and they'll sit there and they'll feed on your soul as you're feeling those emotions. They'll feed on you. This is how they eat. This is how they consume, right? They consume you after they've put you in these states. And what they do is they just minister to you. They're ministers of Satan. They just minister to you. They just talk to you. They make you believe certain things. And once you receive it in your vessel, guess what? You speak it out loud, and that's what becomes reality to you. So if you say you're afraid, you say you're terrified of something, guess what? You will be, and you will always be until you change your mind, until you unlock that, until you change your mind, until you grow from it, right? And so, yeah, so that movie definitely taught you a thing or two in regards to fear, but also associated with a spiritual sense, right? Telling you like, hey, once you remove fear, you can't be touched. These demonic forces can't touch you. They can't do nothing to you. Honestly, they have no power. But the more you operate in fear, the more control and power they have over you. They can even influence you to do some harm to yourself out of fear, out of anxiety, out of depression. They can do it. They can convince you to do it. Animals can smell it too. Yeah, animals can smell fear on you. That's why when dogs start to bark at you and stuff like that, when they sense that you're not afraid, they tend to back down a lot of times. They tend to submit themselves because they see that they're not the alpha, right? They're not the one who's in control. They see that you're not afraid. Exactly. Lies in the news, truth in the movies. Yeah, they put a lot of truth in those movies, facts. There will be weeping and gnashing of the teeth. Absolutely. That's what the scriptures say. Lizards were normally influenced by spirits to become that type of class of creature. Plenty of them normally do not have a soul. Absolutely. Man, yeah, that's some deep insight, bro, Vic. Yeah, that's some deep insight. That's some deep insight. Thoughts on Charlie Kirk, Big G. My thoughts on Charlie Kirk. Listen, Charlie Kirk was an example. They made Charlie Kirk an example for individuals who speak out, who have a voice, who speak on truth, like Candace Owens, like Tucker Carlson. These individuals who speak up and speak out, they gave them a warning sign. They gave them a warning sign saying, you better stop talking. You got people like Brigitte Macron, right? Who's being exposed for being biologically a man. And they not too happy about that. And in fact, there's recent reports that they put out a hit on Candace Owens because she's the one who's primarily speaking out against them. But you also will see Brigitte Macron, right? And Emmanuel Macron, who's recently visited the White House and sat down with Donald Trump against one of the, in a time where one of the largest voices that are coming against them, right? That are exposing them for truth. Candace Owens has the largest platform in the United States right now. You understand what I'm telling you when it comes to exposing truth, especially on Brigitte Macron and Emmanuel Macron. And now here they are in the United States. Somebody who gains millions of views in a day, okay? 1 million to 2 million views, like Candace Owens does. She pulls 1 million to 2 million viewers worldwide in one day. Think about the level of power and control. If they got to control the mainstream media in order to control your mind, what makes you think that somebody like Candace Owens or Tucker Carlson is not a threat to them? What makes you think that Candace Owens or Tucker Carlson has no levels of threat towards an intergovernmental system? They have all power and control of an intergovernmental system. They are fully a threat because of their voice. Nobody listens or watches the mainstream media anymore. Nobody cares about what these Yahoo has to say unless they're telling us about the weather. And even then, we still say they're wrong. We care about the voices who are not censored, who are not bought and paid for. Voices like Candace Owens, voices like Tucker Carlson, a Nick Fuentes. Even though I disagree with a lot of things he say, he still has power in his voice because he has a platform and people listen. You're a threat. So Charlie Kirk also was somebody who was a threat. And he started to maneuver and move his viewpoints of Israel. Israel didn't like that too much. Israel didn't like it so much that they actually made an example of him. They didn't like that he was changing his position. He was become more radical, like a Candace Owens against the Zionist agenda. Once a supporter, avid supporter, now turned somebody who's against it. So of course they had to make a decision to make an example out of people who left supporting Israel, who left supporting the Zionist agenda, and went into speaking against it. Much like a lot of these cult leaders out here, of course they're going to hate the individuals who left their cult-like environments and start to expose them. Of course they're going to hate them. Of course they're going to talk bad about them. Of course they're going to try to drag them through the filth. That's all they could do. But it's the same thing with individuals like Candace Owens and Nick Fuentes. I can say him because he has a voice and a platform of following. Like I said, I disagree with a lot of his viewpoints and the way he approaches certain things. Certain things he's spot on in what he says. But other things, I believe that he could stay off of those topics because he doesn't understand the struggle of not only the Black community, but other communities as well. I understand you saying your perspective of what people do see in the Black community. I get you saying your perspective so we can be able to clean it up. But it's another thing to think that you're fancying yourself to be a judge, after the history, given the history, right? But yeah, absolutely. That's my thoughts. Definitely made an example of. One thing that they can do, if they can be able to strip your autonomy away from you, the right to choose, your voice from you, then they're going to do it. They're going to do it every time. We learned this from the models, like I said, from Malcolm X, from Martin Luther King, from Huey P. Newton, right? From these individuals that had a voice, right? Had a voice, and it was stripped and taken away from them. We got to understand the truth about who Harriet Tubman is, who she really was, right? We got to understand the truth about her. We got to understand the truth about who Frederick Douglass really was, who he truly was. Why do you think they don't teach you nothing about Nat Turner in these particular schools systems? They'll teach you about everything else, but they won't teach you about Nat Turner, arguably one of the first superheroes in the United States, one of the first vigilantes, if you want to call it that, but like who should be respected in his own rights, a revolutionary who should be respected in his own rights for what he was able to accomplish. They will never teach you about a Nat Turner. So why would they want somebody to be encouraged to have a voice, to speak up when they see unrighteousness, like the Bible tells us to do? The Bible tells us in Proverbs 31, 8 and 9, to speak up for the needy, to speak up for the poor, the ones who have the gospel preached to them, to speak up for those who are in need, who need you to defend them and to judge righteously. Leviticus 5:1 tells us to uh, call out individuals for their iniquities, for their transgressions, for their sins, or you will bear their iniquities. You will bear their transgressions. You will bear their sins. The Bible will empower you to speak up, to speak out like a lot of individuals do, right? Like these Candace Owens, like these Tucker Carlsons. These individuals are speaking up and speaking out, speaking against wickedness in your particular churches. A lot of you Christians out here, why aren't y'all standing up and saying, hey, I can't get with you joining and skipping through the meadows with the LGBTQ, with the alphabet community? Why aren't a lot of you standing up for your core beliefs in the Bible? Why are you submitting to them? Why are you allowing them? Oh, because you're a Methodist, right? A Methodist, you're part of a cult. It's nothing but a cult at the Methodist church. There are a cult. Okay. So my thing is this: they're adapting viewpoints that are worldly. I'm just trying to understand, why aren't we speaking up on it and doing our due diligence? Kanye was talking about the Zionists long before even the Palestine Israel thing. It's that crazy. Yeah, he been hitting home on it. All the world is a stage. Thank you. Absolutely. All the world is a stage. It is a stage. I'm trying to tell you, Isaiah 41:10, which says, so do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your Yah. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. That's right, Sister Rose. That's right. That's a good scripture right there. So there's no reason to be afraid. There's no reason to fear. The Charlie Kirk situation was staged by the evidence revealed. It definitely was staged 110%. They set him up. They set him up 110%. There's no doubt about it. And then when you got somebody like Candace Owens who's peeling back the layers, right? And I respect her journalism. She's peeling back these layers. Yeah, they don't like that. They don't like when you start to reveal the truth. JFK, when you start to peel back the layers on JFK and how the Zionist agenda had everything to do with his assassination, it's shocking how much they've gotten away with. I had so much fear in the religious cult I was raised in. Yeah, religious cults is going to instill fear, fear to speak, fear to do anything, fear to disobey the cult leader. They're going to instill all kind of fear in you. So I don't blame you, sister. Glad you restated. Hallelujah. The body and every element of it was being exposed, the more so as staged. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. Yep, definitely staged. There was no mess from the guy being dragged off. No autopsy. Yep, and phony negative to spread a false story. There we go. There we go. But they wanted something to happen publicly to send a message. That's what they wanted to do. Judge has to fall in those who don't repent. Judgment has to fall in those who don't repent. Yeah. So could he still be alive, bro Vic? What You saying, G? Yeah, I mean, could he be still alive? That's a great question. And I don't believe so. I'm going to say no. But I also going to say that it was definitely planned. They definitely planned what they decided they wanted to do. They have clones made of people, technology, fake people with fake identities made for the lab grown people and such. The whole situation shows as staged like a okay, like a psyop. I can agree with that. Upon more research that I would have to do, but I can definitely, look into research that I would do on that with those lenses. That it's a psyop. But I can definitely say that those are some valid lenses to look through if you're going to be looking into it, doing more research on that. Don't y'all think it's crazy how hella weird actors slash actresses are so political, and vice versa? It's because they're all in same clown club. Yeah, some of them you can obviously tell that they play each other. Like their roles that they fulfill is them playing one another, right? So they'll have a mask that looks like there's some guy who was exposing like Jim Carrey for playing I guess Joe Biden or something at some point. And then he showed some of the same similar moles or markings or stuff like that that lined up directly with Jim Carrey and how he may have been playing a public figure, right, or a politician, just in that politician's face, right? Prosthetics and stuff like that. We gotta understand when we start to see a lot of this stuff, like AI and things like that. You gotta know that they released this stuff because this is the old shit. This ain't nothing. This is the old stuff. They already got advanced technology to where they can make themselves look exactly like you and I. You would think that you're robbing a bank because it's your face, but it ain't. You ain't never stepped foot in that place. You feel me? What I'm saying? And then they got stuff like that you can be able they can be able to do that, literally mimic you. So people who are doing like the different experiments, right? They're taking your likeness and they're utilizing your likeness, taking your likeness, putting it into a database, and they're using your likeness in order to do certain things in this world, right? Damn, bro, Vic, you're deep in the hole, cuz. Free Diddy. They cloned Kanye. They cloned Kanye. Think about that movie. They clone Tyrone, right, on Netflix. Clone Tyrone. Check it out. Go. If you haven't watched it yet, go watch it. But for those of you who already watched it, y'all already know that they're telling you something, right? They're letting you know that this is what they do. Not only from the experiments that goes on in melanated or black people's communities and other communities as well, but also the cloning, right? And things like that takes place. They clone Tyrone. Sometimes you have to ask not to have it open or seek to find from the Most High. Yeah, there you go. That's true. The demons helped Diddy make his watch when he comes out. If they ever release him, I doubt that they ever will. But watch when they release Diddy. Watch how crazy it is. Watch how weird it's gonna be. This is gonna be crazy. You're gonna witness something very odd when it comes to the release of Diddy, and you may not see him for quite some time because they definitely gonna do some things to make some changes with that character because that's what he is. He's a character. Not only is he a character, he's an informant. So they were using him to do informant work. They probably still are. He's probably already out right now. Somebody already fulfilled or filled in his shoes. He's probably already out with a different face. So let's keep that real. Let's keep it a buck. He's probably already out with a different face and fulfilling a different role and a duty and a task. Big G speak on Kanye. He was talking about Palestine and the Jews long before the war. He was talking about, Yeah, I mean, Kanye, he's just one of those minds. You got to understand that the level of intellect that Kanye has and the level of suppression that he also had to endure, it kind of manipulated and altered his brain capacity, right? His thought process, the things that they've done to Kanye, right? But Kanye and his mindset, the level of intellect, the level of creative, a lot of individuals who have a level of intellect and a level of creativity, they typically are revolutionary. Think about Tupac. Think about other individuals like Malcolm X and other individuals. They are creative minds. They are minds that are intellectual and creative, right? And they tend to be revolutionary. They tend to think outside the box. They tend to encourage and influence others to think outside the box. And it's just kind of what they're hardwired to do. But it brings balance to individuals who only think in the box. Gives them the opportunity to not be such blind sheep, but to become war sheep, to understand balance, to understand how to look at things at more through more spiritual lenses, you know. But yeah, Kanye is a definitely an intellectual mind, and they've been trying to stop and shut him down, shut his voice down for quite some time, y'all. And he's been speaking on it because he's been knowing about all of this, and people just don't want to listen to him because they painted him as being a crazy man, whatever, whatever, yada yada yada. And they really messed up his mind with them chemicals, and that's what they done. Did you have a good Thanksgiving? Unc. When people call me Unc, man, it kind of took me back before, but I appreciate it. I know it's a term of endearment. I don't really celebrate Thanksgiving. It's the day of mourning, and I do give thanks to the ancestors that gave their life on that day, that sacrificed their life to help others, right, not die or wither away, and they literally were massacred on that day. So, but I did keep them in remembrance, and I did send up prayers for them. Okay, but that's what that is for me. It's a moral thing. It's not a sin, but it is morality. Morally, I don't keep Thanksgiving, right? Morally, I don't do it. And then, of course, based on scripture, it says, "Keep not the ways of the heathen." So there's that too. The guy dragged in the junk. So, all right, I'm gonna have to go ahead and shut it down, y'all. I'm gonna have to shut it down, y'all. I appreciate y'all joining me though. Was the Will Smith Chris Rock slap planned? You know it was planned, sir. Chris, look, listen. You know it's Chris Rock and Will Smith. You know that was planned. You know that they meant to do that. That 100% was a Will Smith initiation, so he can make it to another level, so he can get into another phase. Okay. In fact, it was an opportunity for him to be able to divorce his wife. They made his ass do that so he can get rid of Jada Pinkett Smith. That's the only way he was going to be able to do it. If he fulfilled that slap, if he fulfilled it, right, in which he didn't actually connect the snap, they just acted it out. They're both actors. You know what I'm saying? And then now he can get rid of Jada and step into a different contract, step into a different role. I got something for you. Yo, I got something for you. Okay, cool. Was the Will Smith and Chris Rock? All right, I'm gonna have to shut it down. Eminem was Def cloned. He is not the same at all. Yeah, yeah, y'all know it. Come on now, I'm gonna bring some more content about this stuff because y'all talking about this heavy. I'll be back, BG. Get a better name on YouTube. I love my name, bro. It's all good. But bless you, man. I appreciate you stopping by. Appreciate you stopping by. Thank you, sir. A lot of them are switch rooms too. But bless y'all, man. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this thing up for tonight, man. I really appreciate you guys stopping by, chatting with y'all. Bless you. We'll see you guys in the next video, all right? Appreciate y'all flocking with me today. You know what I'm saying? Bless you, Sister Rose. Bless you, Brother Vic. Welcome. Get to see you guys back in here. Sister Rebecca. Bless you well. And everybody else who's newly to the channel and commenting, man. I really appreciate you guys stopping in. Bless you. Peace. And we'll see you guys in the next one, all right? Peace and shalom, shalom.